memories intertwine. Save a life, hold on tight. Through the darkness, we will fight. In memories, they shine so bright. For the long.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Fentanyl Facts and Stories. Got myself, Charlie Perry, with Paula Santos Young and Amanda Faith. Straight across the world in sunny California. She is here with us again. One of our pioneers, one of our strong advocates, and we are so happy. It was a surprise, man. I thought it was dreaming. I put the screen on and I got two blondes in front of me. I said, "Woohoo! Yes." What's going on, people? How you doing?
How are you? How are
I'm
you?
doing.
It's been some time.
Yeah,
Like we say, we tell all of our audience all the time, 2025 is going to be greater, bigger, a lot more amazing guests. We're going to bring back a lot of guests like Amanda because she's a true champion. She's doing a lot in California. I'm going to let her talk about that. One of the things that we learn as grieving parents is, and I talked about this a lot, Charlie, you've heard me say it. Amanda, you obviously have said it and heard me say it. When you become a grieving parent, you establish this phenomenal family of an army where we really protect each other. And that's, it's leaps and bounds because a lot of the wonderful relationships that I have, friendships that I've acquired through this journey are across the country. And that speaks volumes on all of us turning our tragedy into purpose, which is, as we all know, achieves greatness slogan. And she, unfortunately, has been doing it longer than I. We all remember her story with her beautiful son, Luca, who I know is around her all the time.
nice.
Look at that. Look at that handsome boy right there.
Yeah, pinch those cheeks.
He's definitely with her.
Isn't
and
he
I know
so cute? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But see, he still is cute. That's the thing, is that even when they go to heaven, they don't lose that. They
so
are still,
cute. I mean, come
yes.
on. Who could look at this face and be like, I don't care about fentanyl poisoning awareness at all?
Mm. So true.
There's nobody that could look at him and be like, yeah, no, his life didn't matter. So I use that to point out that fentanyl doesn't care if you're 13 or 33. Okay? Like, yeah, I changed it to 33 because of Andrew. I know. I'm cheesy. But
No.
it's, normally I say 13 or 30. Like, fentanyl doesn't care. Yeah. We're part of a family that we didn't want to belong to. But I'm so grateful for my sisters and my brothers in this. Like, we're fighting to save the next generation. Like, it's not about our losses. That's already happened. We're fighting to save the next generation. And we're fighting really hard. I'm really proud of all the strides that we've taken nationwide. Absolutely. We're family. I cheer everybody on. I know Paula does too.
So you're doing tremendous work, and like Paula says, just trying to save some people from going through what you guys have gone through and still going through. So, and that's to be commendable because you could easily kind of sink yourself into a shelter or a hole and just kind of hibernate and go into solitary and just don't deal with anything. But you both wake up along with many others, and you're advocating right away. So
Yeah,
thank you.
no one would blame us if we did.
No,
You know,
not at all.
I can be proud of myself on any given day on whether or not I have showered,
Mm, mm.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's,
and more people need to really understand the level of that. Like, advocates, we work through our grief and we work with our grief to help others. So it should never be about self. And it's not even about our kids. Like, it's not about Luca, my beautiful baby. It's not about him. It's not about Andrew. It's not about the countless kids we've already lost. It is about what we can do to safeguard the future.
mm,
There are so many kids who are not being made truly aware of the dangers that are present, and safeguarding them and giving them the coping mechanisms that they need to have conflict resolution skills and problem solving skills and simple life skills is so much more important than anything I could put my son's name on. It's so much bigger than him. It's about saving the future. Prevention is about saving the future, and that's what I work in. I work in prevention. Um, right now I'm getting ready. Tomorrow I present to my board of supervisors here in Shasta County. We are presenting a plan for youth prevention, youth
mm,
substance prevention, for $4 million of the allocated opioid funds. Our county got 36 million. 4 million of it, we have been tasked to writing a proposal that, still has to be approved, but the way the board went about it was actually really rad. And I can just say the word rad because
mhm.
I'm me. Our chairman of the board thought outside of the box. All of us had presented completely separate proposals for different organizations, and at the end of the meeting he called 4 of us together and he said, okay, fine, I see that, and I raise it because I want the 4 of you to work together on a comprehensive prevention plan for Shasta County.
Mm,
Um, and it was ostentatious. It was outside of the box. Everybody was like poo-pooing it. And, organizations that have been doing what they've been doing for so many years in our county were taken aback. But if what had been working generations past actually worked, my son would be alive.
mm.
So I stood on that, and I stood with these people on getting the community together to really address the gaps in service, the gaps in data, so many gaps that tomorrow we're presenting for approval, but we've already made such a change in our county just by addressing these gaps that I have put them all up for humanitarian awards.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm so proud of my team. I could just cry.
Well,
And I fully suggest every single parent out there, I don't care what part of the country you're in, find out where those opioid funds are going and be part of the change. Be part of it. Hold them accountable. We didn't need any more bike trails
yeah.
in our county. Okay. For instance, that's part of the money was literally going to bike trails. Opioid settlement funds going to bike trails.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds like our city right here.
This is happening across the entire country. But parents like me are standing up and saying no more. And we've come up with a really cool, I'm so glad we had a board member that was willing to actually take a chance and think completely outside the box, because that's how you get new solutions. The old ways aren't working. Okay, dare, please. I made fun of dare when I was in school.
Hmm.
Red Ribbon Week. Okay, cool. It's an awesome excuse to dress up.
Yeah.
You have a spirit week? Oh yay. That's basically what it is a spirit week. It's ineffective. It doesn't work. Scare tactics are not gonna work. Okay. We have to meet in the middle of all of that to where kids actually are. And I feel like if we work with all of our community partners and we pull in the schools and we pull in the teen centers and all the things, like in our county, we actually got 16 organizations involved with 26 participants in a summit. That could be done nationwide, and I highly suggest it. I will give the blueprint to anyone that asks. Anyone. I don't care where you are in the world. It works. I'm watching it work. And like, even though we're presenting tomorrow, I was nervous. But now I'm not as nervous, because either way, we've made such a huge difference that I already know. I already know that, we only need 3 out of 5. It's fine. It's going to go through, first off, because it's common sense. And secondly, it's something we can teach nationwide, and other parents. I'm not special. I'm not special, Charlie. Like, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not special. I'm not extraordinarily bright. I'm not extraordinarily gifted. I am motivated. And I am motivated to save lives. My son is already dead. I'm not trying to memorialize Luca. Yeah, he's precious. He's precious as hell, and he drives me every day. But his name will not be on anything I do, because this isn't about him. This is about the 800,000 people that have died since him.
Yeah.
800,000 people have died since my baby in this country.
Sad.
And I tried to warn them then, and I'm still warning them now. I feel like my job is never ending. I want to retire, Charlie. I want to retire.
Yeah.
But there's always another thing. You can't retire from this. You just get better at it. And you work on focusing on singularity. What is the one thing that I can do? And what I can do is prevention. So, like I said, my blueprint, it's all here. I've taken really good notes all along the way. It's free for anybody. You want to take on your boards? Please do. Call a special meeting. Demand to know where the opioid funds are going. And if 40% of it, because it is written in, 40% of it is to go to prevention. And like I said, my job is prevention. If 40%, find out what your county actually got awarded. Find out what your state got awarded, how they're breaking it down. In California, they're breaking it down by counties.
Yeah.
So we got 36 million. So we're doing 4 million now, and then we're going to write another one to get the rest of that for prevention, because 40% it is for prevention, and anybody can do this. Anybody. I am a behavioral therapist. Okay, I was never a politician. I never had any involvement in fentanyl, or I didn't know what fentanyl was when Luca died. But I became an expert. Parents are your experts in this, and anyone who doesn't give them that recognition should absolutely be fried
Wow.
on any level.
The let me see. I'm gonna bring something up on the screen here as I get it. The Amanda, can you talk about standing? Um, what's it? Standing faith? You said.
Yep, standing faith. I mean, it's really just it's me. Um, for the longest time, I struggled with finding something to call myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I'm a parent, and so often being a parent gets dismissed as just being a parent. But we become subject matter experts in so many ways, and many of us are constantly, Paula included, are constantly attending trainings and everything to be the best we can be to try to save lives. So standing faith is just, faith is my middle name, and I'm standing on my integrity in that. um I work nationwide as an advocate. I will come to any event. Invite me, I'm there. You pay for the plane ticket, I'm there even quicker. Um, it just is. I will do whatever I can and work in any capacity I can to try to help kids and make people aware that, I didn't think my kid would either.
Yeah.
Not my kid is beyond. My kid was incredibly intelligent. I respected him greatly. One of my greatest heroes. And I never thought he would use illicit drugs. I never did. And he did. And he died the first time he ever used. So I'm warning people with his story, along with stories of so many other parents. Because like I said, I'm not special. Luca isn't special. He's one of 800,000 since 2020.
Wow.
800,000. That's you have two of us in this room right now, and there are 800,000 just since my baby died. So he's not important. The message is. And so that's why I named it Standing Faith, versus anything Luca related or anything else, because I believe that we have to stand on our faith to make a difference.
Exactly. Well, I want to say your son is special. You're special. You're special with everything you're doing. It means a lot, and you may not want to say it, but I'll say it. Paula will say it. We all will. Takes a special kind of person to do this. So many people in my family and my life have sunken to some extreme lows just because of the loss of family members. And with Paula and yourself, it's children. And I just want to say that's such a blessing. When I became a dad, I didn't realize how special it was going to be, but instantly I knew how special it was. So for you two to advocate on a constant basis, 365 days out of the year. Um, I appreciate you, and I got to commend you and say that you are special.
Thank you.
I want to let everybody know that there are links in the comment section. I'm going to share them. If I go ahead and read them, they're kind of lengthy, but they're off to the side and some stats that you could use and read and definitely get to. Paula, if you know anything about either one of those links, you can comment on it because I wasn't able to read them.
Yeah, so basically what the links are that I'm providing, and I'm trying to send something else to you. Let me get out of this. So we're talking about the opioid settlement funds, right? And we're talking about the how much the states have gotten, how much Massachusetts has received. So if anybody goes into any of those links, you'll see not only how much Massachusetts has received, but also how the money is being misused and not spent correctly. There's an article that was also posted in reference to Kentucky and how they really put into an article the misuse of what's happening with the funds and how these funds are supposed to be used for prevention, awareness, advocacy, harm reduction. I mean, so many things. And it's not. It's being used for police car. It's being used for, and I think, Charlie, didn't we have somebody on? Roy. Roy talked about it back then, where it was
Hmm.
something about a golf course or something
Yeah,
occurred. Yes.
and that's always. I mean, I see it so many times that they just government officials when they get handed money, they think they can kind of. To me, I call it embezzlement, and the reason why I call it embezzlement because it's always used for something different until
Right.
all of a sudden someone wants to say, well, all right, we have money, and they probably take it out of some other fund somewhere. But I always say that they manipulate and misuse the money, and it's borderline embezzlement by these
I have
officials.
seen some crazy things, Charlie.
Yep.
I've seen some crazy things. And I've watched the opioid. Okay, so we called our county on it,
Hmm.
and they gave us the opportunity to write a proposal, right, for the 4 million. But above and beyond that, it's also going towards police body cams. Do you think that opioid funds should be spent on police body cams? Because
No,
I
because
don't feel like that's an appropriate spending of that specific set of funds. Yes, we need body cams, but maybe not out of this pile. I've watched that happen in my county. Tons of things. So the misspending nationwide really really needs to come to an end. Like, that was the reason I was like, hey, let's talk about this tonight, Paula, because I'm hoping that everybody out there listening, God, we all have the power to
yeah,
hold our board responsible, because there are meetings and we can be a part of that.
Right. Exactly.
most cities and towns, states, they have over the past 8 years, they all had um, money allotted to them or given to them through government money for the body cams, just based on a lot of things that have been going on, especially since the 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 campaign of Black Lives Matter and everything. That's when there was becoming a lot of awareness to what's going on and policing and so on and so forth. So the government in the cities and towns stepped up and they came and got money and said, well, we're going to do this. We're going to get body cams. They already have that money. So
Well,
for them
there
to
are so
go,
many grants available for it now
yeah, and
because of the Rodney King situation and so many others across the country. There are grants upon grants. So I mean, I'm not saying anything against body cams. I think that's amazing. I think it's a community resource we all need nationwide.
Yes.
However, out of the opioid funds, that's not an appropriate place because there are 15 different grants that all of these offices could apply for. They're just lazy. And
Mhm.
so they go to your boards and they ask for this money. And the boards, if they are uneducated, just give them the money. And it
Exactly.
works 7 times out of 10. So why not try?
Mhm.
And that's where all the mismanagement of all of these opioid funds are coming in. If we actually held them accountable and we put the actual 40% into prevention nationwide from the billions of dollars of settlement, if we actually put the 40% into prevention, we could eradicate substance use. And I'm going to go really big and say we could absolutely effing eradicate substance use in America in 10 years. Boom.
Believe it.
Like mic drop, there's no doubt. There's no doubt in my effing brain. If people actually are held accountable to keeping the data and to doing the program, there's no
Exactly.
doubt we could eradicate it. But I don't think anybody actually wants that. And that's
Paula,
a whole different conversation.
Amanda, Paula sent me a document. It's called "Fed Up: A Coalition to End the Opioid Epidemic." It mentions about keep your hands off opioid settlement funds and who are we,
Mhm.
which is an organization that represents those who have died and will die of opioid overdoses, those who live lives and have been ruined or will be ruined by opioids, and those addicted to opioids, and those are trying to recover from opioid addiction. So this group is called Fed Up. So they kind of basically give a little, it's sort of like a press release and talks about governments choose to balance funds to meet the total needs of the government. Um, and I truly, I witnessed that. And
Mhm.
there's so much different things going on, with funding, and you have to follow the money. I always tell people, follow the money when you want to find out where it's going, where it's being misused or being used correctly.
Yeah.
And you just follow it. You just follow it. And somebody like me that likes working with figures and money and so on and so forth, when it comes to embezzlement, I can spot it real quickly.
Can I just
Um,
hire you to come work in Shasta County, Charlie?
yeah, I wish. The hardest thing about me moving anywhere, and believe it or not, is the grandchildren. I never want to leave them.
Oh,
I actually go,
I don't blame you. I'm looking forward to the day that I have grandbabies. You guys
yeah,
are stinking lucky.
yeah. I go through withdrawals. Thank God for FaceTime. We can do that, and
Well, I'll just come visit you guys in the meantime.
yeah, that's right.
You
You
both
can
have
hang out.
grandbabies. You're stuck. I'm not stuck yet.
Uh,
I'm in that sweet spot, that in between zone.
yeah, it's a fun thing. Ask Paula; she knows.
I do. But one of the biggest things too with Fed Up, and I just sent you the link for them, Charlie, if anybody wants to look, pull them up. For some reason, it's not letting me post it. I have to keep sending it to you. They're an organization that's really holding folks accountable, many states and the people in the states for the misuse of money. Because one of the things with the opioid settlement funds that has been released to the cities and towns and the states through the attorney general's offices is you are not supposed to be getting that money if you are a organization that already gets federal funding. And that's
Mm,
exactly what's happening. There is a lot of organizations, even here in our city right now, Charlie, that do substance use and recovery, and they are tapping into this money, and they already get federal funding. So, when you're kind of fighting this battle and you're trying to hold people accountable,
Yep.
it's never an easy task, right? So that's why with us here on our podcast, we love to always give our listeners, our audience, the facts to back up what we're saying. And that's what we're doing here is we're showing you the facts. We're showing you that, we're not just here telling you because we're disgruntled. We're here telling you that I can tell you what's happening. And I had this conversation with Amanda. What's happening is that we are now back in the day of the tobacco industry, where the tobacco industry was having all these settlements come in, and they were supposed to go to the cities and towns, and they did not. They were not used at all, or very, very little, for the purposes of letting you know that smoking is not good for you and the harms that were associated with it. And that's exactly where we are. We are exactly at that point again in this crisis because, it's yes, it's fentanyl, but it's also vaping. Here in Boston last week, and of course, no one heard about this. There was a 9-year-old who brought in 200 vape pens into his school because he was going to sell them. 200, 9 years old.
Yeah. I'd like to know where he got them from.
Well, here's my thing. My first thought is, holy crap. What is this kid doing with this, and why does he have them? And anything could be in them. And then number two, oh my God, what a great entrepreneur. Why isn't he using this for better? Because I'm like, really?
You got to give him a little bit of credit, right?
Put him in the put him in the school store, sell
That's
some
messed up.
merchandise.
I didn't see it that way till I did, and then it was too late.
Yeah, and again, and I'm not saying that that's right, because we're not saying that. We're not. But what we are saying is, here you have someone who had the wherewithal to bring in 200 vape pens into his elementary school, to put them in his locker, in his backpack, to then turn around and was going to sell them to his classmates and friends that he knows also smokes vapes. So when you're sitting here telling us that we don't have a problem, you know what I say? I say bullshit.
Yeah.
We do have a problem, and we continue to have a problem. And people are sweeping this under the rug because you're hearing that the numbers are going down. You're hearing that the stats are getting better. Well, we're here to tell you that, yes, the numbers are going down a little bit because of Narcan, which is amazing. People are starting to use it. But the numbers are not as down as this being reported.
I'm in an area where the numbers are not down. The numbers have actually raised 30%. So I'm not in an area where the numbers are down at all. Like when the 10% decrease in America hit, I was gonna quit, right? And then I didn't, whatever reason. And then the 15%, and then I came home, and the problem is worse here than it is pretty across a lot of places in the country. So it's one of those situations, there are different pockets around the country that require different care. And we need to address that too as advocates, because all the demographics matter. Like, my stats here in Shasta County they're much higher than California. And that even includes LA and some of the really crap hole places.
Wow.
And we didn't have accurate data when we started, nothing. So, everybody across the country really needs to hold these people accountable. Like,
Right.
there are board meetings for a reason. And I suggest parents start going to them, especially in regards to the opioid settlement funds and all that good stuff.
Yeah. The let me see. Got some people talking to me on my inbox. Just want to make sure if it's related. The
Well, I don't know if you
yeah,
knew this, Charlie, but Carl did a reporting on one of the Boston news stations. It was sent to me Friday,
I
and
seen that.
yeah, and it's interesting that he talked about that because I've been advocating for that, but I'm glad he did.
Yeah,
And we lost 80 people in New Bedford, 80, and why aren't we hearing about it?
yeah,
And this is exactly the problem that continues to occur, is that we have people who are supposed to be reporting these numbers
yeah,
and they're not, or they're underreporting them, or they're calling everything an overdose and it's not an overdose. And and I think at the end of the day it comes down to, you have to look at it like this: when you're doing something that includes numbers and stats, and those numbers and stats have to be accurate, you can't just put what you feel like putting. You
That's
have
one of
to.
the reasons I insist that people start using fentanyl toxicity, because that can't be argued.
mm-hmm,
Some people can argue overdose, some people can argue poisoning. Fentanyl toxicity is that middle ground that's an appropriate medical term that can actually be counted. So if we could get everybody in the same camp, maybe we could actually get accurate data. Because right now we don't even have accurate data across the country. We don't.
Yeah.
We do not. Stigma runs it. And if we change it to fentanyl toxicity, stigma does not run the game anymore. It is just a simple fact. They don't get to make a judgment
Right.
when they fill out their paperwork. It simply, if they have fentanyl in their system, it is fentanyl toxicity,
mm-hmm.
period. And then we need to hold the news groups accountable to using fentanyl toxicity or poisoning, anything other than overdose. Overdose only perpetuates stigma.
Right.
It only perpetuates stigma. It does nobody any good. It furthers the not my kid camp. It furthers all of the things that are really anti-awareness. They're anti-awareness because if you don't think you have a problem, you're not going to talk about it.
No.
If you think it only happens to junkies and addicts, then you're not going to talk about it because, my God, we don't have that problem in our family. And we need to change that, like, nationwide.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday on Frequency Live on that podcast, and we were talking about the crack epidemic and how things are kind of very similar to what they're doing now, and no one seems to care. It's not my house, it's not my family, it's not my community, and they kind of think that it's in an urban setting when it truly isn't. We all know that. And but some people get blinded when they're or they put on blinders and think that it's only like we're talking about overdoses. That's the one thing that people, if you say overdose, people just don't care, right?
Yeah,
They
they think
seem like they
immediately
don't
that you're a
care.
druggie or a junkie or a
Yeah, yeah.
loser or, yeah.
So if that's if the officials or city officials have the stats that or use the stats as overdoses, there's not going to be a huge outcry, or it's going to be the usual outcry that they don't listen to. They just
Oh,
don't.
Charlie, I've told you before. My son, Luca, was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And the detective on his case, so Luca was the first drug-induced homicide even investigated as murder in
Yep.
California in 2020. And the detective on his case actually told me no one would walk into the room of a 13-year-old boy and say, just another junkie.
Hmm. Hmm.
You want to know what made me an advocate? Statements
that?
like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because fentanyl doesn't give a shit about his judgment of stigma. Fentanyl doesn't care if you're 13. Fentanyl doesn't care if you're 46, like me.
Yeah.
It does not care. It doesn't care if it's your first time or your 50th time. When it's your time, it's going to kill you. Fentanyl does nothing but kill.
So true.
So, I mean, he created a monster, right?
The as long as we keep talking and kind of people shut up when you put some truth to them and give them some truth, and when they got a bunch of theories and they're not practicing like you are or Paula is or Phil is or any other parent. They're not practicing being strong advocates of this crisis. But ladies, let me I have to announce something that I promised that I would do. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, I want to give you a community announcement about the R&B Winter Thaw. It's Friday, April 11th at the Vault, downtown New Bedford, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Doors open at 6:15. Featuring 3 outstanding singers performing in New Bedford for the first time. That's Shaquan Davis, Kim Tavares, and Kevin Robertson. They're also honoring Michael Consaccio for decades of community service. The tickets will be at Celia's Boutique, which is at 111 William Street, New Bedford, Massachusetts. Also, they will be at the Vault, which is on Purchase Street. Let me give you that address as soon as I get this comment out of the way. And the Vault is actually it's on downtown Purchase Street, just near the Family Dollar, and between No Problemos, between Union Street and William Street. All right. Let's get that out of the way. I'm sorry, ladies, but I just want to make sure that I do that. The community is important, so I like to make those announcements. We definitely there's definitely things going on, and but I want to ask both of you, what is your next step? What is your next event that you're looking to attend? And I mean, Amanda, you did mention about the conference and the presentation that you're going to have soon, but is there anything else?
I mean, I've got the presentation tomorrow.
Yep.
And then my next step is to go after the DEA for their one pill can kill. Fentanyl is in a lot more substances than just pills, as we all know. And regardless of what substances they list, that messaging is dangerous. It's dangerous for novice users. It's dangerous for children who don't know any better. They might think that another substance is safe because it's not a pill and only pills kill you, right?
Yes.
It's overall dangerous. So that's my next step.
What about you, Paula?
What am I not doing? How about that?
Yeah, does she need another damn thing?
We're doing a lot, as everyone knows.
Well, first and foremost, I'm sorry. We went almost a whole hour and I didn't say happy anniversary.
You know, it's
Oh,
not our anniversary. It's the day that we met.
yeah, that's still an
That's
anniversary.
still
We
an
do the same. We
anniversary.
do the same thing.
Thank you.
Don't sell it short.
Yes.
Sometimes that day is a whole lot more special than the other anniversary, believe it or not, because that's when your eyes are open and his eyes were wide open, and you say, I think that's the one for me. And like you said,
I
there was
agree.
so
I'm with
many.
Charlie. Happy
Yeah,
anniversary.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it means something, and it's
Thank you.
so. And I just want to say that before you.
Well, he's a good doobie. You know him, Charlie. I mean, you
Yeah,
knew him
yeah.
before you knew me. So, you know, he's a good,
You,
he's a pillar in the community. Everyone knows him. He used to be a basketball coach, as everyone knows. You know, he won a championship with St. Francis. He used to play at the CYO. He always loved, and then played at the YMCA. Loved, you know, interacting with the youth and the kids, and really helping them, especially the ones in our inner cities who were getting involved with the gangs. And you know, he was kind of like, they would all call him pops, you know, and they
Mhm.
still call him that now when they see him. And I think, you know, being a coach, especially in this day and age today, I give so much credit to so many people
I'm
who
sorry.
no, that's okay. I give so much credit to people who are coaches today, especially in this day and age, because it's difficult. There's so much going on the home front, you know, with our youth. And I think that, you know, one of the things I've learned is when you're a coach, you're also a mentor, or
Hmm.
you should be. And it shouldn't always be about me. You have to understand that being a good coach is like being a good leader. A good leader is not one who sits there and constantly says what they're doing. They just do it. And then their actions and what they have done is shown. And that's when I think sometimes people get mixed up in the silos, as I call them. And we've talked about this a lot, Charlie, on our podcast many times. And I think that, you know, again, coming together in a community is something that is needed and should happen. There's a lot of great organizations that are doing many things with the youth, and I applaud them. They were doing it before me, before us, and I just want to extend that. I think when you're doing advocacy work, as we all are, including you, Charlie, because you're part of this, you know,
Thank
you,
you.
you want to make sure that you always align with the right people. And I think we've done that. And, you know, we've built a lot of wonderful, great relationships across the country, in the White House, with the administration. And yes, even with this administration, I'm an independent, as everyone knows, but, you know, we were asked to come to the table to help with the reference around opioid. And
Hmm.
you know, we acknowledge that and we appreciate that. Um, and I think that even with Amanda, she's doing amazing things globally.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just doing it in the United States. She's doing globally. She has
Hmm.
a conference she's attending in April. I'm not going to speak any more about that, but her reach is global. And that's amazing because, again, it goes back to the advocacy work that so many before us have done. When we talk about advocacy, I'm always reminded of people like, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, you know, so many before us that did this work and stood their ground, and had many people who said they were never going to accomplish anything. And look at today, you know, they're in the history books and they're known for the great work that they did, and so many others that I haven't mentioned. And I think that when you come across people who are willing to stand with you and say, what do you need? How can I help? Let's do this together. That's your folk. That's your people. That's your tribe.
Oh, well, Paula, my God, you know, I am so, so blessed to be the only white person I know whose grandfather ever marched with Martin Luther King Jr. I'm telling you, my grandparents told me stories about being spit on by white people and black people alike.
Mhm.
Okay, nobody liked that a white person would stand up. And I'm still the same guy.
Yeah.
It's in my blood, and it makes me so proud. I couldn't be more proud in that way to be an American,
So true.
you know, in that way. Like,
Mm.
we got the best of the best, man. We
Yeah.
got the best of the best. How could we fail?
Just last week, they went to the bridge in Selma and reacted the walk over the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
many of those things in the '60s are starting to come back.
Oh,
It's just kind of a sign of the times of what's going on.
you know,
And
you gotta have respect for the past, otherwise you're just doomed to repeat it.
yeah,
Right?
I truly appreciate the past. I really am so happy. I thank God for the people in the generation of 1960s and what they done for this country. Um, I want to get back to what Paula said about working, and you got to work with administrations, and yeah, you have to. It's just as we all being advocates, they have to be the first advocates. No, they truly have to step up and become the advocates to provide and keep our community safe. So just as we kind of put the question out there and ask them for help, or they need help and get aware, be proactive and put the awareness out, they really have to. So, I'm all for that. If,
Well,
someone's
can
in the
tell you-
seat, you have to reach out to them.
Absolutely. And Charlie, I want to read something to you and to everybody in the audience that was sent to me. I sent this to Amanda. And, it was sent to me because someone knows the work that I do. And they know sometimes the frustration that we all have doing this work. And this is what was sent to me. Being impactful can be excruciating. The moment you decide to build, lead, or disrupt the status quo, you inherit critics who haven't built, led, or changed anything. But here's the irony. Many of the same people resisting you now will one day benefit from the very thing you're opposing. They're opposing.
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the real question isn't, will people like me? It's, will I have the courage to keep going when they don't? Because if you're going to make a difference, you have to find the courage to be different.
Yes. Yes. So
And
true.
be unliked.
Yeah.
You can't really in this field, you can't. Everybody likes me, Charlie. You don't know me very well, but everybody freaking likes me. And in this field, you can't be liked by everybody. So I
Mhm.
take it personally when there's an issue or, whatever. No, if you're doing your job right, not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
Not everybody. Not if you're doing your job right. If everybody likes you, then you're a POS. I'm sorry.
I know that firsthand from
You
police
have to
work
be
of
unliked.
30 years. I
Yeah,
definitely know that.
you have to be unliked.
Well, the
If
famous
everybody
Maya,
likes you, you're not doing your job.
right.
Mhm.
And the famous Maya Angelou said it best. Sometimes we have to cause good trouble.
Mhm.
Boom.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what this is. And that's why we do what we do. And no, I was on a Zoom call today and, somebody said, I'm not everybody. They didn't say it to me. They just said during the call that they were not everyone's cup of tea. And I
Mhm.
said, well, neither am I. In fact, if anything, I'm the one that breaks down the door, comes in and says, you have the seat because I walked away. Anything else you
Mhm.
want to say? So,
Yeah.
I mean, and I know that a lot of times in this space, I'm constantly, it's a balance, right? It's a balance because you don't want to come across as being someone who, oh my gosh, that person's a problem. But at the same time, you're always going to be a problem to those who are not doing what you're doing. because
Exactly.
they didn't think of it, they didn't do it. And that's one of the things that I'm learning. And I so appreciate that quote that person sent me, because it's exactly what we're all doing, right? Is we're breaking down the door and creating the status quo, and we're not going to be liked by everybody because they're going to think you're a problem. And Amanda can say it because she's a behavioral therapist. When people think you're a problem, it's because you're doing what they haven't.
Yeah. Generally, when people realize I'm a problem, they put me in charge of things like the board of supervisors. I'm trouble. If you're trouble, if you're truly trouble, they're going to pull you real close, babe. So watch out if you're trouble. I'm just saying.
That's all good. Most cases, I don't mind being in trouble. You know.
I like being in trouble, but it leads to a lot of extra work, Charlie. It does.
That's all right. Gotta have big shoulders, right?
I tell Paula all the time I don't feel like I could ever actually retire. How could I, in right mind, step away from what I do? No.
Well, sometimes it's just in your blood, and it's in your heart, and it's just gonna keep pumping away, and you're gonna keep pumping away, no matter what. So,
And it's funny. It's funny, Charlie, right? Because she's sitting here saying she can't retire, but yet she's the same one as my husband and you and so many others who keep telling me you can't be on 9 million committees and task forces. You
have to hone in, babe. You're spreading yourself too goddamn thin. You'll be more effective. Pick 5 things. Pick 5 and just stick to 5. It's way better than 35, and you could be really good at 5 things instead of being kind of shit at 35 things.
Well,
wow! Wow!
Okay, I'm only half shit. I mean, but it's not full. You know, it's not your full attention. Come on now, get real.
Well. Problem is, she probably just don't know how to say no. I can't do it.
That is the problem, and I say that too, don't I?
You do.
You gotta get on her helmet every once in a while, because otherwise she will just keep letting people take and take and take. And you know what? There comes a point we all have to say, just wait, no more. There were only this many amount of things I can actually do with my time. And if I do anything more than that, it's going to take away from this. So, sorry.
I get it. I have a problem saying no too. So, well, ladies, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate the time on this podcast. We scrambled around in the beginning trying to get on, but we're here, and I think that there was a whole lot of information that was given to the audience in the comment section, and also in the conversation that we had. So we just got to keep this up. Amanda, you know that you're always invited here. And if you want to come on every week, I don't care. We just send you a link, and you just make it that much better when we have people with
yes.
We have some.
It's the same active link. I'll just start joining randomly.
That's it.
That would
like
be
I
hilarious.
Said, you go right in the comment section.
That would be funny.
Yeah. You just go right in that comment section and says invite me, and then I'll send you the link that quick. There's enough space on this podcast for 10 people, so
It'd be funnier if I could just surprise you and show up.
Yeah.
Hey, Paula,
definitely.
Hook me up with Frank and Charlie, okay?
Yeah, she's going to want to know who our guests are. Then she's going to make her appearance.
Yeah.
I'll come in costume one time. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Whatever. We can just play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No problem. It's all good. So I really, really appreciate everything, and this time on Mondays is very special to me. So everyone on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitch, thank you for joining us. This has been a special evening. But come back next week, same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and join us. All right. Any last words, Paula?
I think just, continuously, we always say thank you, everyone who joined us, and thank you for being with us because, we always say that we can't do this alone, right? There's strength in numbers. We have to work together. And, someone said to me, well, Paula, if it's not fentanyl tomorrow, I said, if it's not fentanyl tomorrow, it's something else. Because
Mm,
unfortunately, as you just said, Charlie, you talked about yesterday, with the coke epidemic and heroin, it's not, we've been doing this for 50 years now. It's
yeah.
been 50 years of this war on drugs, as they like to call it. And someone said something to me one day, and Charlie, I think I've already said this on the podcast. Wars end. This hasn't. It's
Mm,
been 50 years of a new drug every time. And I think the problem is that they're getting better at bringing things in. They're getting better at killing innocent people, as the cartel has done with fentanyl. They're getting better at their advertising, including the vape pens, as we also spoke about. Because what is the emphasis of drugs is the marketing. And the
mm,
marketing of the vape pens is, it's sexy, it's great, it's a different color, it lights up, it's a different flavor. And again, it goes right back to what we said earlier. It's the whole tobacco industry all over again. It's the marketing of this product to our youth and to people to make it sound like it's okay, and it's not.
so
So
true.
talk to your kids, talk to your family members, talk to everyone. Please understand that fentanyl is in everything. It is in
Absolutely.
everything. It continues to be here in our city. It continues to be in the cities across the United States. Yes, some of the numbers have come down, and we are grateful to see that because Narcan is being used. But please understand that it still continues to be a crisis.
Exactly.
And if I were to add anything, I would play off of Paula and say, not everybody can't, somebody can't do everything,
Hmm.
but everybody can absolutely do something. So do it.
Yeah.
Just
ex-
do something.
Exactly. Do something. Do something like this podcast. Podcast that get on the air. Do a podcast. Do a live. Make a reel. Do anything, but
Yep.
just get a message out. You can grab messages. Just like Paul and I, grabbed them. We put them in the comment section. Just read those, recite them. And do it on a daily, weekly basis. But get the message out. You'll never know who's listening to you, and that goes for all ages. It could be, there's young people that watch this. You can do it. Older people can do it. Um, you know, just do it. Just do it. Just like Amanda just said. Just do it.
Yeah,
Like,
Yep.
absolutely.
all right, everyone. I appreciate you too. Electronic hug, and I really, really appreciate you. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And if you have some time, come on, join me on the Really Charlie podcast tomorrow night. I have a great, great guest, an award-winning um, vocalist, rapper from California. His name's Khalif, and he was an immigrant. Came over here, won a Grammy. He's definitely doing some great things, and
I know Khalif.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So he's
Right
he's going
on.
to be on tomorrow. So
Very
All
cool.
right.
Good job.
yeah. So all right, Paula.
All right, everyone.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you,
surprise
Amanda.
guest. I'm glad you pulled Amanda out of your hat. Presto, and she's on
The
here.
hat. I'm glad he said hat, Paula. I'm glad
Yeah,
he
I
said
know,
hat.
right? Yeah. Oh, you always got to think on your feet.
Mhm.
You
All
guys have a
right.
really great night. Thank you,
Thank you.
Charlie, for
You
your time.
too. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Have
good
a
night.
good night. Appreciate you guys. Take care. All right, we're going to end this podcast with my favorite song by Lionel Peter Walker. And I will see you tomorrow on the Really Charlie podcast. Don't forget, every Monday we're here, Fentanyl Facts and Stories. Come join Paula and I and our fabulous guest that she just grabs and reaches out to people and they say, yeah, I'll be on the podcast. So you never know. She may invite you. All right. Thank you very much. God bless. And St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And go Celtics. Take care.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.